Hollywood is finally admitting it's over, it's dying, it's going extinct. The age of AI almost here, and content creators growing nearer and nearer to overtaking the entire entertainment industry. Today we'll explain why celebrities are going insane. It's a meteor and it's coming for them. And guess what it is? It's all of you. Is Hollywood dying? Folks, they're finally admitting they're about to croak their toast. And this article is coming to you from The Hollywood Reporter, and ignore the author's name. A public relations veteran candidly admits that the industry he's worked in for over 40 years does not exist anymore. But this man, Dick Lippin, has optimism. Amen. All right, here's the article. For well over 100 years, some might say a century, Hollywood's entertainment industry was the center of the cultural universe, both geographically and is probably one of the greatest brands in history. It had everything: glamour, intrigue, stars, and talented people creating some of the most wonderful stories by way of the very best films and television shows ever produced. People have historically come from all over the world to visit the big studios to see where the stars lived and died, to be a part of the magic. At the risk of sounding too nostalgic, it was like anything else. This person says, I, Dick Lippin, was enamored and wanted to be a part of it all. After time on Wall Street, I moved to Los Angeles and established the Lippin Group in 1986 with a vision of creating a strategic, business-focused agency that specialized in entertainment and media. But the Hollywood I experienced when I first arrived on the West Coast no longer exists. From the streaming wars and the rise of YouTube to a global pandemic, labor unrest and disruption generated by AI and M&A, not to mention the political climate, even destructive wildfires, the industry's view of this roaring 20s is far different from the last one a century ago. But I believe, says Dick Lippin, we are still a long way off from pulling the plug. Guys, they're finally admitting it's getting bad out there. 50% of the soundstage is empty in California. There are now twice as many new media jobs, aka YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, whatever, than there are traditional media jobs. And finally, THR and the other trades are just coming out and saying it. We're in trouble, and we might actually go extinct. I've never seen them go this far, Wizard, but Dick Lippin did it.
He's doing the best he can out there. Yeah, look, Hollywood, people have no respect for it anymore. I mean, the audience is checked out. We know this. Things are more expensive than ever before. Also, hubris has taken these studios just to a point where they couldn't even try to course correct on their own. And it's going to take AI coming in and creating some kind of a crash for things to change, right? The audiences are going elsewhere. They're not going to theaters anymore. So this is hurting theaters, right?
But that's going to wipe out Hollywood, Wiz. The Hollywood of SoCal is over. It goes to Nebraska, Iowa, Indiana, wherever.
And they deserve it. They have made their own bed. Now they're going to have to sleep in it. And now a kid in Idaho with a laptop is going to be able to make a better movie that satisfies audiences better than Hollywood can. Disney certainly can't do it anymore. Warner Brothers is having trouble as well. Every major studio, they get what they deserve. And that's unfortunate for theaters, but that's just the way it's going to have to be.
Andy, it's amazing to me that we're talking about the end of Hollywood, and literally we're talking about them going extinct. Nobody's crying. The national news, the average person on the street, nobody cares. Everybody's like, yeah, let it go. Let it go down.
Yeah, and there they are, poised on the precipice of another strike, right? That can just hasten it. It's like, I mean, what could Rose possibly do but drill another hole in the Titanic? They're shooting themselves in the foot. And I don't know if they're smart enough to realize it. I just saw somebody being interviewed on the red carpet, and he was like being so dismissive of AI, how they hate AI. But you know what? I don't have to tune into Tilly Norwood and get a lecture like I do from Mark Ruffalo. So, yeah, I think they should be really, really scared.
Very, very. And Steph, the reason they should be scared is because the competition. So when you take AI and you look at what's happening, right? What it's going to do is it's going to, in a best case scenario, it's going to take all of the special effects and it's going to put that at the fingertips of any content creator. Okay, so anybody can make a Hollywood style film. Okay, now what is the competition? Well, if everybody's got AI, the only thing that differentiates you is what you do with it and how creative you are Because AI is equally creative with everybody, and it's equally as powerful with everybody. Okay, so what's the differentiator? Storytelling. That's it. And they know they can't out-storytell the rest of America. The only way they could hold on to power was the gatekeeping system, and that's gone in 3 years.
Well, you're absolutely right with storytelling. They're so intimidated and afraid of it because in the hands of actual fans of the properties, people who care about these properties, yes, you can absolutely write something a lot better than Hollywood would. I think that with a lot of these pictures that we were getting, a lot of these movies that we're getting, we see insufferable actors giving really phoned in performances and, you know, preaching with whatever they're doing. The Bride is a great example of it that came out this past weekend, and it was just completely horrible. And people rejected it. People don't want to see it. And so, like, when you have people like Mark Ruffalo, who else? Robert De Niro, all of these actors who we once looked up to, and we really liked these actors simply based on their performances because we didn't really know much about them, right? They're just actors. But then everybody went into lockdown, and you saw the rules for thee and not for me type of thing, right? Where a lot of Americans were losing their jobs, staying home, losing their businesses. The kids were indoors. They weren't able to go anywhere. And then you have all of these Hollywood people. You really saw the ego that is just surges through Hollywood in that, you know what, let's just sing to you and it'll make you feel all better. Are you all better now? We're going to sing to you guys. It'll make you feel great. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to take my jet and go to this island because I can, because it's mine. So I'm just going to take this jet. You guys are stuck at home. I'm just going to take my jet and go and party over here. Actually, you know what I want to do? I want to go to the beach. Even though y'all can't go, I kind of want to go. So you saw like the huge class distinction between the regular American people and Hollywood. And I think around that time, people just kind of started opening their eyes. And it's just been a cascading waterfall ever since then. People are just like, you know what? I don't want to be preached to. I don't want to be talked down to. Wait a second. I don't see your film. So now I'm the problem. Maybe it's y'all. Maybe the stories that you're telling are pretty shitty, and I don't want to go and watch that. I don't want to go to the movies to be preached to. You know what? My life kind of sucks. I go to the movie for a little bit of escapism. I don't want to be reminded that life really sucks. So in that, like, people getting a hold of AI, they can totally do a better job than Hollywood, especially since we already know that they don't really care about these properties. They really don't. They tell people, hey, you don't really have to read the comics. You don't really have to watch these movies in order to do, because we're going to do something new. We're going to do something for this modern audience. We're going to do something that we think that you will like, or that we think that you should like because of the ideology that's mixed into it, the message that we're going to put into this. We think that you guys really should watch this. And you know what? If you don't like it, then you're the problem. It's not us that need fixing. We don't need fixing. You guys need fixing. You guys, y'all's brains need to be rewired so that you think the way that we do. You don't like this? What are you talking about? You don't like this? How could you not like this? We made it. You should just be thankful that we're even making movies for you. Like, that's been their attitude for a really, really long time, and people are sick of it. So I think that that's why people are just like, I really don't care that Hollywood's going down in flames. Good. Because someone else can make quality entertainment, and I can go find that other outlet to be entertained. I don't need to rely on Hollywood movies anymore.
They're on stolen land anyway. I mean, honestly, it's you know, Andy. There's another thing to this, and that is if we take a look, Hollywood did this to themselves. They purposefully annihilated their industry. Steph's exactly right. The hubris is amazing in Hollywood. They also managed to wipe out the way they made money. Reading down into the article a little bit, it says, now that our industry is at a crossroads, let's remember what kept our business on a straight and narrow course for the last 60 to 70 years. Predictability resulting from a variety of secondary tiers after TV shows and movies had their network and theatrical runs. The 10% of deficit-financed network shows lucky enough to make it past 4 seasons would enter syndication or the international market with 100 episodes, with the top sitcoms and episodic dramas poised to make billions of dollars for their creators. Successful theatrical films would go on to earn respectable pay TV and home entertainment dollars meanwhile. And Andy, what they did is they threw all of that away, all of these redundancy systems, and they said, streaming, that's it. And if we can't make the money there, tough cookies. We made no money. We made losses. There's no way for a film now, if it doesn't succeed at the box office or in streaming, there's nothing else. There's no Blu-ray, there's no DVD. There's no TV really. People aren't watching that anymore. The majority of viewership now happens on streaming. So it's an all-in game, and they're losing badly at it.
I was watching The Quiet Man the other night because, well, St. Patrick's Day is around the corner. And when you look at the studio heads back then, these guys actually knew the business. They knew what sold and what was a good film, what was a good story, how long they had to go. And they stuck with the program. And at some point, accountants and executives and bankers got into the business of making movies, and they have no idea what sells or why it sells. They just react to things. And it's why the merchandising has gone so far downhill. I mean, people can say that kids aren't playing with toys because they're playing on computers and they're playing on screens. However, I would also say that if you had good products, you had good intellectual properties and toys based on those properties, kids would probably be playing with those things. Now, you're only selling to like weird adult people like me that buy toys, and it's just they don't have any idea when they do get a hit, they don't know why it's a hit. They don't understand like why something was popular or successful. They just, hey, and let's copy it. Let's do it again. It's why you have reboots and sequels and reboots and everything. Then they have no originality whatsoever. You're going to get somebody coming along. I think what's going to happen, you're going to have you've got all the Star Wars videos coming out with AI. Everybody's loving it. You're going to have somebody come along. They're going to make the expanded universe into some kind of film thing on AI, and people will watch all that. And then those people, after they cut their teeth on this, will go and make their own properties. And then once that happens, once people make their own things and other people find it and like it, then they've really got a problem. Because, like Steph said, you don't have to worry about somebody preaching to you and telling you, like, have a Mark Ruffalo out there who's sitting there on millions and millions of dollars telling you how, like those other rich people, like that are richer than me, they can afford it. But like him, I don't see him giving up his income and living like on a median income of the average person. So they're hypocrites. Their dirty laundry's been out there for everybody to see. The Harvey Weinstein thing came out, and everybody knows that they all knew about it. They all played along with it while it served their purposes. And then when it didn't, they turned around and shot their friends because it was convenient and expedient for them.
What did they call him, Andy, when before he was arrested, but while everybody knew what he was up to? What did Meryl Streep call him? A god.
Yeah, he was a god. Yeah.
So that's what their God is. Their God's power.
They still praise Polanski.
Oh,
they were out there bending over backwards for him. And Whoopi, she said, well, it's not grape. Really?
Right.
So
Grape, YouTube. That's what he said. Lauren, it couldn't happen to a worse industry. We're so happy for them. And the only thing that surprises me is that they're admitting it. I really thought they would go out and just kind of transform themselves into 2-bit influencers, sort of the B team of influencers. They're not really influencers, but once upon a time they mattered. So, hey, check out our chatter on Instagram. That's where I think this is going, because once America's making their own stuff, it's over for them.
I already see celebrities doing that on Instagram and TikTok. They're now turning themselves where once, it was celebrity and like that's the thing to I guess strive to be. Like if you go into acting, that's what you want to be, like a major celebrity. Now celebrities are turning themselves into brands and sort of going the whole influencer route, because influencers have sort of taken over. Now they're going that sort of route, and in that way they are able to sort of keep in control over like themselves and make their own content. You see this with Pedro Pascal. It's why he won't shave his mustache. He'll never get rid of it because that's a part of his brand. And I think Sydney Sweeney also talked about it as well. Like she's able to control the things that she likes or the things that she does when doing this. That's why she's taking a lot of like sponsorships and things. And she says it's because she gets paid a lot better doing that than she would doing a movie. You see that now. It's already happening, like the shift in in actors. Like even Jennifer Lopez is doing it. Like even Jennifer Lopez is doing. If you go to their Instagrams, they're taking a whole lot of sponsorships, and they're now turning from celebrities to influencers. They're sort of branding themselves now.
No, I totally agree with you, and it's all that's left for them because they're not entertaining anybody anymore. And that's why, Lauren, that's why we're excited about Mario. Who stars in Mario? Who cares? It's Mario. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be entertaining, and we're not going to be offended by it. So it'll make a ton of money.
Well, part of the reason that I mean, you kind of know my general feelings on AI. I have some real reservations about it.
I do too. It's destroying YouTube, but we'll see how that plays out.
But the devil's advocate view of it is that the tool has come along at exactly the right time. Because if these producers of entertainment are not going to produce what the audience wants, now the tool that perfectly allows the audience to create what they want and fill a market vacuum is there. And honestly, we're kind of due for a Hollywood renaissance anyway. There have been multiple periods in Hollywood history where, originally you had the moguls and you had actors that were under studio contract, and then eventually you kind of had the new auteurs with Lucas and Spielberg and Coppola and Scorsese and all of those guys. We've kind of moved back into almost a actor under studio contract system again when you have these big multi-picture deals that they ink for something like the MCU. And now it's time for the studios to get broken up again. There's been so much consolidation in their space that what really needs to come in is a scrappy competitor. And that's, I think, exactly what Andy was getting to, which is that now that those tools are available, you're going to have people cutting their teeth, learning how to use the tools, the equipment and everything at a much cheaper cost than what it's ever been able to do before. And once they've got their craft honed, that's when the kill shot's going to come in.
Did you guys see that YouTube is now bigger than Disney? Did you all see that today in the news, that it's now valued higher than all of Disney media content? Let me pull this up real quick. This is the Hollywood Reporter. We gotta see this real fast because I want to make a point out of this. This just came out. Hollywood Reporter says YouTube lays claim to another crown, the world's largest media company. Now, who is YouTube? What's all of you out there? And thank goodness for Elon Musk. X putting pressure on YouTube, I think, to moderate a couple years ago. It's really allowed them to do this. Nathan Moffat Nathanson is saying this, that YouTube now is bringing in $62 billion in 2025 versus Walt Disney's $60.9 billion, talking about just media. I'm going to make a prediction here. Unless YouTube really screws up, Wizard, I think YouTube is going to be bigger than all of the studios combined together.
We look around and it's like, well, what happened? There's going to be a time after everything collapses and then the dust will eventually settle. It's like, well, what went wrong? It comes down very simply. What happened to theaters? What happened to Disney? What happened to these studios? They stopped making good product, but they stopped making things for an audience. Every single thing that is coming out of Hollywood, whether it's Disney or streaming, or any of them, is for themselves. It is the identities of themselves. It is the moral values of themselves, and it has normal audiences, just regular folks, can't relate to that because these people have got it in their minds that firstly they think they're better than everybody else, but further than that, they have these polarized ideologies and polarized opinions of how the world should be, and they refuse to acknowledge that other people see the world in a lot of different ways, and that needs to be corrected. That is and this goes past even just a left or right thing. It is, if you have any opinions other than mine, you must be corrected. We cannot tolerate thinking differently than what I think. What I think is fact and law, and what you think is problematic. And that has bled into movies, music, television, video game. Every single form of entertainment that comes out of California has that kind of personality behind it. And audiences are done. But on top of that, you see, you can be pandering and lecturing to the audience, and the audience might be interested in it if it was good, and it's not good. And that's the bigger problem, is that not only is it not good, but then that's leading people to say, I could have just watched this at streaming. So now that you got people not going to theaters, I could have just watched this. I could have watched something else instead. I could have watched Bluey instead. I could have watched reruns of The Office instead. So you got people not interested in going to theaters because the movies they're making just aren't good enough anymore. But then translates into video games too. You have $400 million games here being produced, and no one wants to buy them because they're crap. They're not good. They're not good. You have streaming shows that cost $400 million. Starfleet, massive legacy IPs that are fallen by the wayside, and it's not going to get better. And I think what Lorne and Andy and Steph have all said, what everybody here has said, it all comes together. We need a correction. I think they deserved it. I want to see them collapse. I'm here for it, man.
The ultimate correction is extinction, Lorne.
Well, I was going to ask Wizard, when you were in high school, did you ever have any friends that were like massive Star Trek fans
Yes.
that wrote fanfic?
Let's not go that far, Lorne.
I didn't hang out with those people, Lord.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
that was deep in the halls of the
Lord,
computer classes, way in the closet.
Whoa, man.
here's why I'm asking, is because everybody that went to high school that had their Star Trek friend that was that deep into it, whenever they wrote fanfic, they always inserted themselves into the story. That's where Gary Stu and Mary Sue come from, is the self-insert into the story. And it is always, whenever they ask you to read their stuff, it's like, how far back can my eyes roll into my head? And yet that is exactly what's happened in Hollywood. You have these writers that have gotten into the Hollywood writers' rooms, and they are creating self-insert characters into their entertainment, and everybody can recognize what it is. It's like, this is not... A skillful writer can have an opinion and yet not show the hand of the author in writing the story. You shouldn't know what the author thinks. The author should be able to present a variety of viewpoints and argue them out through their characters and let the audience make up their mind about what they feel about it. The hack simply inserts their viewpoint and makes it obvious that I am the author speaking to you through this character. That's why they're failing.
And that none of the Hollywood stuff today is being written by Dostoevsky, for example. Nobody's doing that kind of stuff. Sorry, you're going to get stuck with Kathleen Kennedy. Hey, who's the new brunette in the Star Wars show this time? That's been what we've been getting, folks. That's why it's going dry in Hollywood. And all of you out there across the YouTube plains, it's time for you to make your name in the new era of entertainment.